What's going on YouTube? You may have been stumbling across the Liquipedia page, kind of getting anticipation ready to go for the World Championship because we've been waiting for what feels like forever. You may have noticed something that's a little bit funky. TBD for the last MENA spot. MENA 2 spot, who is going to be playing for them? What used to be anything is now what is going on. We don't know what's up. If you guys haven't watched my previous videos, we talked about how there is some circumstances going on with trying to find the one team that is going to represent, and how because this player moved over here and we go down the ranking list and this person's no longer eligible, like all the craziness. We've been seeing some wild stuff. If you guys haven't watched that video, go check it out. It's just a lot to explain. With that in mind, the one that we've been relying on a lot is Nawiz, who is, again, Saudi Esports former ambassador, very familiar with the space. He's dealt with Gamers 8 and all that kind of stuff. I don't read this, so we have a translator, but basically he ends up stating, by the way, regarding RLCS Worlds, unfortunately, all the potential teams that were in line, Twisted Minds can't because Nalpo is ineligible, Vision, which is the former Team Rock team, and GK, which is the new team that Nick is coaching, they can't travel to the US for various reasons. Time constraints, difficulty in issuing a visa in time, change to the main roster, so on and so forth. Therefore, the MENA region, Middle East and North Africa, does not have any other representation outside of the Falcons, which means that there could be a 15-team Worlds, which is wild. We've actually had this issue in the past, back in the very first tournament, when we came back from COVID, actually. If you guys go and look at Sandrock Gaming, back before they were Rule 1, so on and so forth, or Falcons, there's a DNP error, did not play for the winter split. This is the first tournament we had back after COVID, and they had to do a group stage format where there was only 3. There was no 4th team here, and this was due to visa issues and big problems, and you saw Civic express his opinions on it. That was a while ago, but it does create a lot of problems for the Swiss format. Swiss in particular definitely needs 16 teams in order to function properly. Otherwise, any team that is the high seed gets an immediate first game bye win. And I would like to hope that the RLCS staff and the Epic team will find a replacement. But how do you go finding a proper replacement for a region that can't send anybody? So that's kind of where the conversation comes into be, is there is a very real chance that we only have a 15-team World Championship, which will completely mess up the entire Swiss bracket. So, in my opinion, they need to think quickly and have rules in place to figure it out. And usually the circumstances, just like we saw in the previous video, hey, if this person can't make it, we go to the next in line and work down. But that gets a little bit more difficult when we're talking international competition. How do you choose which region gets to go? Do you go based upon current results? Do you go on previous results? Do you go on so on and so forth? The reality is what I would probably end up recommending is they look at the objective results of both the majors and say, okay, who performed better as a like global result for your regions? Is NA having more teams towards the top? Is EU having more teams to the top? Which region collectively is having more? Because both an EU team and an NA team have won, so at least we can wash that out. But who has more representation in the top 8, top 4, so on and so forth? Based upon that, then I would go one step down. The other things that are to consider is visa issues as well. Historically, we've always had issues with tournaments being ran in the United States with teams not being able to secure visas in time so they can come into the United States and compete. And this happens in a bunch of different esports as well. Basically, USA is poo-poo at this. But realistically, you're then looking at teams like Oxygen, RMC, or the former LG squad, which would be crazy if that ended up happening. Shopify, Rebellion, all those teams that were in that wild card spot to try to make it in that NA tiebreaker. You're talking OG, Shopify. OG made it. Shopify is another team that could potentially say, hey, maybe we do get to go to the World Championship. Again, it varies a lot on how that would play out. So I think when you talk about this conversation of who it's going to be, not an easy decision. A lot of people are expecting an answer immediately, but to make a decision that is fair for the Epic Games competitive staff is not going to be easy. They have to try to think of a way to figure out, hey, based upon results, based upon things that we can look at and point at objectively. Also, what do the rules say? Which I don't know if there is any rules for this in particular, which is kind of crazy considering it's happened before. What do we do as a fulfillment? they may just give it to an NA team just because then they can guarantee that team is going to be there in time. With that in mind, Oxygen is based in the United States, but we just saw their whole debacle go down with the Kraft family and Shift Summer League. So with Worlds only being a month away, it is probably and most likely that they are going to pick the next in line for NA RLCS. And if that is the case, if we look at the global rankings, that is former Luminosity, now RMC. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's the circumstance. Do not take my word for it. But this season just continues to have surprises and frustrations and everything else. So, yeah, I don't know who we're going to have. I don't know if there's going to be a replacement. I don't know if there's going to be somebody there or not. But you best believe they've got to figure it out quick. I think it's very problematic of how they go about doing this. The rules will state that they can make a decision or change the rules at moment's notice. They have the ability to do whatever they want to accommodate their needs for situations like this. So my hope is them understanding the importance of what it means to have 16 teams in Swiss, especially with the playoff situation and the World Championship having that new AFL format. I think is what the format is for AFL, or is it APL? I forget, where it's a weighted seed and stuff. But yeah, it will completely skew wins and give away free wins if we do not have a official team there. So they've got to find somebody. And for some teams, it is their lucky day. Yeah, it's due to circumstance, but at that time, you got to make it count, right? Like if you're RMC and you've been grinding and things are going well, and all of a sudden you get the opportunity to go to the World Championship and compete, and you can turn some heads, good on you. Great story. It's why I want last chance qualifiers anyway. So up to me. I'm holding a qualifier again. I'm trying to find a way to make it so these teams can do something. Put on a tournament, find recent results, whatever you got to do. But you got to get a team there desperately. My opinion, you're looking at either Oxygen or Luminosity, or the Luminosity teams. Those are the two that you probably have to pick from. So whichever one you decide to go with, I hope you can provide good reasoning as to why, but it is not going to be easy. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. It's only a few weeks away. So crazy stuff again in the world of esports. 15 teams though at the World Championship. Possibility. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Either way, I'll keep you guys up to date when I can. Just more chaos here in the RLCS. The off season isn't even here yet. Wild times. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. As always, like, subscribe, notifications. Appreciate y'all. Comments down below. Let me know your thoughts. Who do you think should make it? How do you think they should do this? In my opinion, run a wild card. Let them compete. But I'm out here. Peace.